In this video, I'm going to discuss the latest application rate for SBF this year. So let's start by talking about the total supply and demand for all flat types combined. So as you can see, right now the most popular town, interestingly, is actually Woodlands, because almost 1,200 people already applied to it. And then the second most popular is Kallang, and because it already exceed 1,000. And then Yishun is following closely behind with 973. But then in terms of the big three towns that have a lot of supply, Queenstown, Kallang Whampoa, as well as Bukit Merah. Currently, Bukit Merah and Queenstown is still undersubscribed. But then for Kallang, the amount of demand already exceed the supply. Okay, next up, let's talk about the two-room flexi supply and demand. As you can see right now, there are 514 applicants for Kallang Whampoa, and the runner-up would be Yishun with 422. But then, as mentioned earlier, unfortunately for this round of SBF, the amount of supply for two-room flexi is very limited. So I think regardless of which town you apply to, your chances will be very, very slim in general. Now let's talk about the two-room flexi application rate for seniors. Right now, the highest application rate is at Tampines with 25.7. Now, this is a very interesting observation that I made, because in this February 2026, for some reason, Tampines is very popular both for BTO and SBF. So that's interesting. And then the next highest application rate is at Sembawang with 20. And then the rest is still less than 20 or under 10. But then even the lowest one would be Bukit Timah at 2.3, which is still quite a lot. Next up, we have the two-room flexi application rate for singles. Unfortunately for singles, all towns already hit triple digits. So for Tengah, it's already 182. And then followed by Jurong East and West with 142. The lowest is Yishun, but then it's still at 107.5. Next one is two-room flexi application rate for first-timer families. So for first-timer families, almost all towns is still less than 1, with the exception of Tampines, that is exactly at 1. But then the rest is still less than 1, because again, this is two-room flexi for first-timer families, so makes sense. Next up, we have the two-room flexi application rate for second-timer families. For Jurong East and West, as you can see, the application rate is 11. Tengah and Yishun both ends up at 6. And for Kallang Whampoa, it stands at 1.7. Next up, let's talk about 3-room. So this is the total supply and demand for 3-room in this SBF round. As you can see, Queenstown, Kallang Whampoa, and Bukit Merah, all of these 3 towns that have a lot of supply are still significantly undersubscribed. So today is already day 6 of the application period. So the application period will close in another 2 days. It looks like if the number holds like this, in theory, these flats that were unsold in this round of SBF should end up in the open booking flat process. But then I think I have never seen the OBF actually opens. Please comment down below, guys, if like any of you ever seen the open booking flat actually being activated or actually available. Please comment down below, because at least so far I feel like I haven't seen the open booking flat actually opens in these several years that I've reviewed BTO, SBF, and everything related to HDB. So I would want to know whether these unsold flats really will end up in open booking flat, because based on the data for this SBF, I've noticed that some of the flats, for example, like from the one Veranda at Kallang, and then from Queen's Arc, etc., some of those flats were in the previous SBF and then it showed up in this year's SBF. So I wonder whether these unsold flats will end up in the next SBF, or will it be offered in open booking flat process. Okay, let's check the internet just to be sure. So open booking flat is supposed to be year-round and first come, first serve. And it's supposed to be open year-round again. Unlike BTO exercise, you should be able to book the flat immediately. So I think after this sales period, it would be interesting. I think I would check the HDB website from time to time. I mean, I'll let you know if I see the open booking flat process actually available for us to access. But then the concept of open booking flat is that there's no more balloting involved. So instead of balloting, which depends on luck, for OBF, it's supposed to be like first come, first serve. Okay, next up, let's look at the application rate for 3-room for first-timer families. Woodlands is the most popular with 6.5. And then after that, another popular town is Tengah with 3.8. And then the rest is less than that. For Bukit Merah and Central area is still at 0.1. Now, Queenstown is kind of tragic because, again, remember, it has so many supplies, but the numbers are still rounded down to 0. So, oh my God, Queenstown 3-room. If let's say you're open-minded to buy a 3-room with 10-year MOP, and I think most of them like 6% subsidy clawback, which is lower than the clawback if it's under newer BTO. If you're interested, check out Queenstown. They have several big projects that is still under development, and you can collect the key quite soon. Next up, we have the 3-room application rate for second-timer families. So for Bedok, the supply is very limited, but then there are a lot of people interested to live in Bedok. So then the application rate becomes 31. But then again, remember that unless the town has a lot of supply, usually for towns that only have like less than 50 units, typically it's like mixed between older repurchase flats and maybe some unsold BTO. But then that's the watch out. If you do get a queue number, you might need to make a very tough decision whether you want to take the penalty or buy an old flat, depending on what's available when you're called for your appointment. Now let's look at the 4-room application rate. But before that, let's talk first about the total supply and demand for 4-room flat. The highest demand right now, interestingly, is at Bukit Merah, and it's quite a jump because yesterday it was 430 applicants. Today is already at 551. This is quite a jump. So as of today, the amount of demand already exceeds the amount of supply. And then for Kalang Wampoa, it's the same story where there has been quite a jump. So yesterday it was still undersubscribed, but today it's already oversubscribed. However, if you want to apply for a mature town where it still has a lot of supply with less competition, consider Queenstown, because even as of today, the amount of applicants is still 403 applicants, but then there are 710 4-room flats available for grabs. Now let's look at the application rate for 4-room for first-timer families. The highest one again is at Sengkang with 10.9, followed by Pasir Ris with 7.7. But remember, just because the application rate is high, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's super popular. It could just be that the amount of supply is very limited, but then the amount of demand is higher than that. So for example, for Queenstown, which still have quite a lot of supply there, the application rate is still at 0.3, which means that if you are first-timer families and have the budget to buy a 4-room flat in Queenstown, you actually stand a very good chance because look, the application rate is still like this. Even Kalang Wampoa still at 0.7, and then Bukit Merah also 0.7. So if you are looking for a mature town 4-room flat, this is your chance to grab any of these 3 towns. I think it's actually quite a good option because it's cheaper versus resale. Admittedly, of course, it's much more expensive versus when it was launched as BTO several years ago. But then that's the reality with SBF, right? Unfortunately, because the flat almost completed or you already have the keys, then indeed the price is higher versus when you had to wait for 5 years, 4 years. Next up, we have the 4-room application rate for second-timer families. For Woodlands, oh my God, the numbers already increased to 162, and looks like even Bishan will also hit 100 in couple of days. Yeah. So for second-timer families, as you know, it's quite tough. Now let's talk about bigger flats. So 5-room, 3-gen, and also executive apartment. If we look at the total supply and demand, there's not much supply in any of the town because Yishun is the town that has the most supply and it's only like 53. For Woodlands, the amount of applicants is already 350. And then another popular one is Tampines with 221. Yeah, but I think it's quite tough. If you are open-minded for a BTO instead of SBF, actually check out, because Sembawang BTO for this February 2026 round still is heavily undersubscribed for 5 room. They have so many 5 rooms there, and as far as I remember, I think the amount of applicants as of today is still like half of it or something. Check out my other video that discussed the application rate for BTO. But what I'm trying to say, if you want a bigger flat, you want a 5 room, and let's say you're open-minded about Sembawang location, actually you stand a better chance to apply for a BTO there instead of SBF in any of these towns. For first-timer families application rate, right now the highest one is at Sengkang with 7.3, and then the next one is Chua Chu Kang with 5.6, and the second runner-up is Pasir Ris at 5.5. Now for second-timer families, as usual, the numbers is crazy. For Woodlands, the application rate is almost hitting 200. Currently is at 198, but I think tomorrow it will surpass 200. And then the runner-up is Tampines with 132. If there are any second-timer families applying here and watching this channel, please comment down below. What are the flat types that you want to buy as a second-timer? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, next up we have the CCA. So I usually don't discuss about CCA, but then somebody commented on this channel, hey, why not discuss CCA as well? Okay, so now today I include CCA. So basically in terms of the total supply and demand, as you can see that the biggest supply is actually located in Bedok and also at Geylang, because they have more than 100 CCA units available. But then in terms of applicants, it's still very much undersubscribed for these two towns. As you can see, Bukit Batok is already oversubscribed because there are only 9 CCA units, but the amount of applicants as of today is already 39. Well, actually, even Queenstown is still undersubscribed. So looks like if you pick any of these 3 towns, Bedok, Geylang or Queenstown, you still have a good chance to apply for CCA. Now let's look at the application rate. So the application rate for today, the highest one is Bukit Batok. Again, I think it is because of the limited supply. But then for Bedok, Geylang and Queenstown, the application rate is still less than 1. So just pick any of these 3 towns and I think you are set to get a flat, hopefully. Now, as usual, I'm showing you the screen grab of the SBF tables taken from the HDB website, so you can see the latest application rate by yourself in case I accidentally made a mistake or something like that. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to know the update, come back again to this channel tomorrow, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. To support my work, you can give a one-time tip by pressing the thanks button, pick the amount that you want, and click buy and send. Or you can also press the join button for exclusive contents and monthly membership. Your support means a lot to keep us independent. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.